Nerd reactor, roll out.
Shortcomings. So watching this, for me personally, uh, I feel like there's a lot of just things I can relate to. The character works at a movie theater. I used to work at the movie theater, and there are other just similarities. I'm like, wow, this is kind of is it's close to home. So for you, I don't know if that's the same for you when you're reading the graphic novel. You're like, oh yeah, I definitely want to make a movie out of this.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. There are elements in Ben, Alice, and Miko that I can identify with, or at least there was a time in my life when I could identify with them, for better and for worse. But definitely in Ben, there's some uncomfortable things that I felt were definitely a part of me when I was younger.
Oh yeah. And with the character, and you like you play a lot of characters that are just super likable. And then for this one, you're directing someone that I think is pretty it's kind of likable. It's pretty negative outlook on life. So what was that like just going from just the positivity and then just embracing this I think he's he's an asshole. Yeah.
It was fun. It was really fun because I know a lot of people like Ben, and I'm very familiar with this type of character, and ultimately, I don't see him as a just an asshole. I see him as a very complex person. Definitely, there's a lot of sadness underneath there, and a lot of a lot of great things about him too. He's very much a loyal friend and good person in some ways, bad person in other ways. He's definitely a not a one note character.
Oh yeah, definitely. Because there are
Yeah,
parts where I'm like, I am kind of rooting for him,
yeah,
and there are certain parts where, yeah, this guy needs to learn a lesson.
yeah, yeah. Which he does.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and just with the whole dialogue, just trying to like just direct these scenes, just having it feel real, and also kind of like, ooh, it's just the dialogue. I'm like, it's kind of cringy in terms of like this is like so how some people would talk in real life, and you're like, just shut up. So, what was that like for you when you're trying to do these scenes and trying to bring in like just the grounded, the realism, and just making it
yeah,
feel like, yeah, this is how I feel like people talk in real life.
yeah. I mean, I think that this is not like how everyone talks. Certainly, it's definitely how these characters in their world communicate, and I think it's very reflective of a very kind of academic uh, 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 environment. These are uh, very smart people who at times do very dumb things. And I think that
Hmm.
in a lot of ways it's just kind of reflective of the world they live in.
Oh yeah. And I want to go back to like when you first saw like your the first introduction to shortcomings. Like what was that like? And what was that the light bulb where you're like, ah, I gotta make this, I gotta make it happen.
I mean, for me, it was when I first read the graphic novel when it came out back in 2007, and then just looking at the panels that Adrian Tomina, drew, and the story that was unfolding. It felt so real to me. It just felt so uh, authentic in terms of how it was with my friends and me at that time in our lives. The down to the locations, the diners they would eat in, and the conversations that they were having, and everything felt so real. And that's when I felt like, oh gosh, it would be so cool to see something like this in a movie or a TV show or something. And but that was, back in '07. So it was many years later that this movie is was finally able to come out, and thankfully I was the one who was able to direct it.
Oh yeah. So that part, just the being related to it back then and now. So what's your takeaway now? from that, like just trying to go back into it, and then also just seeing it from the outside. It's like, oh wow, this is like definitely a different experience, but something like in the past.
Yeah, I mean, one of our main goals was to figure out ways to modernize the story, and to because the actual movie takes place now, whereas the book was of its time back in '07. Uh, so a lot of it was about trying to find things that felt real and felt grounded to this day, and that also made sense to this day, in terms of technology and just kind of a bunch of kind of small details that would modernize it, but also finding other ways to flesh out the characters and to have the conversation be a little bit more applicable to what's going on now.
Oh yeah, and with the casting for Justin Min playing this character, because I think usually he's very charming, and then you're having him play this character. So what was that like in the casting process? Like, yeah, you're perfect for this.
Well, he's still very charming. I think Ben is a charming character. He's just also a very opinionated character. But for me, it was about finding an actor who really understood the character, and also but understood the character beyond just him being a dick. Like someone who really saw the humanity of the character, and understood that a lot of this stuff comes from a real kind of heartbroken place, and I think Justin was able to convey that because he's such a good actor and a thoughtful actor, and he was really excited to play Ben because we don't get the opportunity to play these kinds of characters that often. So it was something he fully embraced, and also got to explore sides of him that existed when he was younger, and as he likes to put it, before therapy, he was a lot more like Ben. And
Uh,
so I think, and not just with Justin, but with Ally and Sherry, I think they all felt this real excitement to tackle such complex characters.